All right, you got more questions, or what do you want me
Well,
to?
keep going.
All right.
Does that help, by the way? Is that any better?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm not complaining by any means, So I get the job with Raven, and their tour manager at the time was this gentleman by the name of Marc Sokol, right? Who unfortunately has passed away. I think it was 2004. And Mark, really at that stage, he was the guy that kind of like went, you know, okay, I'm going to tell you what you really need to know. Like, I know you think you know what you know, but you don't. So Mark really helped me. Like, he kind of, you know, was like, no, you need to do it this way and whatnot. And so we did that would have been 86, okay? So to get back to that story, and the other tech with me was Ian Kinnerstley, who, if you Google him, has done so many bands as production manager and whatnot. He's like, he's one of the, you know, he's really, really good at what he does, and just the sweetest guy, and like really went on to you know, be one of the industry standards, really. So at this point, Ian's the bass tech and kind of the stage manager and everything, and I'm just the drum tech, and then like the guitar techs would go in and out, right? So we load out of Long Island, we get in the truck, Ian and I, and we drive to Dallas, Texas, right? And we're doing, we're supporting Ted Nugent at the Astro World. So this is the first arena show I've done. This is by far and away the biggest show I've ever been a part of, right? So, you know, whatever, I do my thing, I set the drums up, right? We go out, the band plays, and Rob's shtick, right? His name in the band was Waco, right? So his shtick was he would like punch his cymbals and knock his kit down while he was playing, and like it was my job to go back up and put it back up. Now, I don't want to give all the secrets away, but we had like 2 stands specifically with older cymbals and whatnot that he would hit, but he didn't limit it to that. He would hit other stands, whatever. He's doing his thing and he's playing, and he's not paying attention to any of that. Well, I don't know how far we were through the set, but he went to punch a cymbal, and either he missed that cymbal and hit another one, but he gashes his hand open, right? And he goes back to playing. Well, man, it's, you know, if you ever seen Monty Python, right? You know, in the Black Knight, right? Well, it's like, well, it's just going everywhere, right? And I'm just like, what did I sign up for? What? This was not part of the deal. Like, I'm not a medic, right? I think he played 2 songs, right? And in the course of it, I think they said he lost over like a pint of blood, right? Like, I mean, there's just blood everywhere. So whatever. We get through most of the set. They stop, like, hey, we're sorry. The drummer's going to the hospital, you know, whatever. Okay, get it off stage, pack it up. We're heading to Fort Worth, right? That's our next gig. So overnight, we go to Fort Worth, you know, sleeping in the truck. We show up. Load in when they let us load in, because when you're support, you know, you're kind of at the mercy of the headliner, like, yeah, put your shit in now or whatever. So we load in, get the gear out, and I just like, what am I gonna do? I got blood everywhere, right? So I mean, in those days, like, I didn't have a big work box or whatever, right? So I found, like, you know, some cleaner from one of the building guys, a janitor or whatever, and I start like, I'm cleaning. So I think the band came in at, like, I want to say it was in the afternoon, maybe 3 or 4, right? And Rob's comes up and he's like, oh, you've cleaned all my drums? I'm like, well, yeah. He's like, oh, you know, he was like disappointed. He wanted the blood to be there, right? So whatever. I still had some like drum heads left that were just covered. I'm like, well, I got these. So whatever. He took those. And, you know, and I like, and of course, he's there, you know, doesn't matter, whatever, show must go on, right? So he's there, and, you know, his hand's all taped up and stitched up, and we go up, and, you know, they play, and we do our thing. So that was 2 shows. So then Ian and I get back in the Ryder truck and turn around and drive back to New Jersey, right? I want to say it was Old Bridge. I know that's where Johnny lived. I don't know if that's where the gear, Johnny and Marcia, his wife, who like ran the, you know, Rock and Roll Heaven, which was a music store there in Old Bridge, but they also managed Anthrax and Raven at the time, and some other bands, right? So I think it was Old Bridge. So we go back, we put the gear in the storage locker, right? We check into this dive motel next to the Go-Go bar, right? And I think we spent 4 days there, maybe 5, get the truck, load the gear back in, and head to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now at the time, I didn't think anything of it, right? Now I look at it and go, why the hell didn't you just have us go from freaking Fort Worth to Albuquerque, have us share a room? You're putting us in a hotel anyway, right? It was like truck, whatever, that's the way it was done. And at the time, I was more than happy to do it. So Ian and I get back in the damn truck and we go to Albuquerque, right? So now we're supporting Judas Priest. They're starting the Turbo Tour in Albuquerque. So we show up. And I don't know how many shows we did with them. You know, of course, in my mind, it was like a couple weeks. It might have only been a week. I don't know. Google it, right? Go out and you can tell me. But, you know, I'm like, man, this is great. I hit the friggin' big time. This is the best ever, right? So we do that. We come home. We sit for a little bit. We go out with another band that I think was on Megaforce, TT Quick from Jersey. Amazing band, right? Like I happened to see them at the local bar that I used to hang in, the Haunt, right? And they would play like a set of originals. I have their 2 records, great originals, but man, they could do Zeppelins like nobody's business. Like their singer, just incredible. The band was incredible. And they used to do Out on the Tiles, which is off Zeppelin 3, which is one of my favorite Zeppelin songs, right? So it was like great seeing them. So they're our support act. So that's cool. I get to see this cool band. I'm working for this cool band, and we would go and do clubs for, I don't know, what was it, 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And then we're supposed to go out and support Twisted Sister at the end of the year, right? Well, that was when like they did that record where they covered Leader of the Pack or whatever, and it didn't really sell. And I don't know if they imploded or what, but that tour went away. So now I'm kind of sitting, whatever. So I probably went back to mowing lawns in the cemetery with my dad and Spencer or whatever it was. So 87 rolls around and we go out and we're on this tour. The headliner was a band called Wasp. We were the opener and Slayer was the middle band, right? And we did a solid 10 weeks across the US and Canada in the winter. Played everywhere. That was my first real, like, I'm doing the whole country. I'm seeing what touring is. And of course, I start in arenas, right? And then when we go out in 86 on our own, we're doing like big clubs. And then now we're doing theaters with Wasp, right? So I've kind of like, in a short period of time, outside of like the clubs that I played in upstate New York and New England, I'm kind of experiencing touring in the real world, right? So we do this tour and that ends. And like Rob's like, I'm done. I don't want to play drums anymore. Like he had met a girl and got married, having kids. He's like, I'm done. So, all right, well, that was cool, whatever. Got to work for a really nice guy, good drummer, good band, whatever. So the rest of 86, God, what did I do in 86? See, this is the problem. I can't remember. I just can't remember. I think Marc Sokol, the tour manager, got me some other jobs. Like I think I went out and worked for an Australian band called the Go-Betweens, but that was only like a couple, or this was 87, right? So I think Mark got me a job after that tour. I worked for the Go-Betweens. And then this guy, Kerry Wittig, who you'll hear more about, he got me a job. He was working for Wendy O. Williams. So we did a few dates there, and so that kind of got me through 87. And then in 87, I went to work for an upstate New York band that had been around, even at that time, for a long time. They were known as Atlas. Originally, they were Atlas Linen Company and then Atlas. And what was it, like 9 guys, 4-piece horn section, like funk, rhythm and blues, dance kind of band. Amazing, right? Well, those guys played nonstop. Like we'd play 6 gigs a week, you know? I don't know what I was getting paid. I want to say I was getting paid like $60 a night or whatever. So cash, that was a lot of money. That was like taking home $360 a week back in those days. That was huge, right? So you're making almost $500 on the books. That was like unheard of. So I worked for them through the end of 87. And then